The two pillars that I have are, I personally oppose it, but I believe that that should be a choice that somebody else gets to make.
That's Rudy Giuliani from our interview trying to deal with the controversy over where he stands on abortion. And we're back now with Britt, Mara, Bill, and One. So Giuliani's taking quite a chance here, telling Republicans, making it clear, taking it head on. I'm pro-choice, but saying when they consider the whole basket of issues, including national security, that he's the right man to lead the party. Britt, what do you think are the chances that he can get them to look beyond the social issue?
I think he has a reasonable chance of that. I think he kind of got himself tangled up in this issue. With the statements he made in the debate about how it would be okay if a judge he appointed and the court influenced by that judge came out and reversed Roe versus Wade, and it would be okay if it didn't. I think what he was saying was if you appoint a strict constructionist judge and you don't have a litmus test, you've got to be willing to live with the consequences. But he didn't put it quite that way. He was, it seems to me, pretty clear and strong in the interview. He's pro-choice with restrictions, which is a position that may not be 100% in the Republican Party, but it's pretty good if you look at how it polls in the country. That's sort of where the country is, pro-choice with restrictions, and that's not inconsistent with his record, although he has obviously shifted on his support for some of those restrictions.
But Mara, it's just not where the Republican Party polls.
Well, that's what I just said.
You said the American people. Don't forget, he is still the front runner for whatever polls mean now. Yes, he has slipped recently, but he still is leading the pack. Look, this...
Oh, pro-choice with restrictions is where the public is.
Yeah, you're talking about the Republican. I'm saying it's a Republican primary.
You know, but the thing about, in the past, pro-choice Republican presidential candidates have fared very poorly. Arlen Specter and others who've run on that platform. However, this year is different. This Republican field is extremely unsettled. Republicans are wary and suspicious of John McCain.
We're in the middle of a war on terror.
We're in the middle of the war on terror. Romney isn't necessarily catching on yet, and Rudy Giuliani is saying something very bold and challenging to the party, which is terrorism and the economy are more important than social issues, and I have the best plan for both of those. Plus, now this is where I don't think he has closed the sale, but he's also trying to argue that I am the only one who can beat a Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton. But I don't think the polls support that. I think the polls show that in head-to-head matchups, for whatever that's worth now, they all do. But that is the challenge for the Republican Party. Is it ready to rebrand itself by de-emphasizing the social issues and nominate a Giuliani? And we don't know that yet.
How do you think, Bill, he handled the issue in our interview? I mean, is that the right way to deal with it? Just try to define it, deal with it head on, and basically say, look, there are other issues?
I think he's good at making his case, and it's what he believes. I mean, the question, the gamble he's taking is that he will be sufficiently superior to McCain and or Romney and or Fred Thompson on handling terrorism or on economics or on electability, that what is a majority pro-life party will end up choosing Rudy Giuliani over McCain or over Romney or over Thompson. I mean, he's guaranteed that there will be a showdown in January, February between him and at least one candidate who is pro-life, and he's not. And I think if Republican voters think they can get basically the same agenda on terror and a same agenda on economics, they're going to prefer a pro-life president who really will say that he thinks Roe v. Wade was wrongly decided. That has been an absolute core, more, I'd say, than abortion itself. The issue of the imperial judiciary and the overreach that is embodied by Roe v. Wade has been such a core Republican issue, conservative issue for the last quarter century, that I would bet on the candidate who believes Roe v. Wade is wrongly decided.
Well, I think there's blood in the water, and I think you're going to see it Tuesday night at the debate. Actually, Fox News Channel is going to carry it. But I mean, that debate...
Are you saying that Britt and I are going to be sharks?
Well, no. You know what? you guys can actually sit back, because I think his opponents are going to be all over him. I mean, Tom Tancredo is going to talk about culture of death. I think McCain's going to say, how can a conservative not be a supporter? What did you hear? We heard last week on this very show from Richard Land, who said, you know, he thought it was a repugnant position. Tony Perkins, Family Research Council, what does he say? He says that what you're hearing from Rudy Giuliani is an echo of Hillary Clinton. You know, Hillary Clinton, who is, I don't think, the Republican candidate here. So I think it's a big issue. I think this is what we're seeing in terms of the Republican argument right now for a candidate. They don't have a candidate, and it's become a values conversation, and a very difficult values conversation focused on abortion, but it can go on to guns, it can go on to gays, because guess what? Rudy Giuliani is out of the mainstream on those issues, too, when it comes to the Republican Party.
It strikes me that we're talking about the power of two events. One of them was the Roe versus Wade decision in 1973, which alienated conservatives on two levels, as Bill has suggested. One was on the sheer flabby reasoning of the decision itself, which seemed like such a stretch. Second, of course, was the result of that, which has been what this enormous increase in the number of abortions in the country, a process which is abhorrent to a great many people. The second event was 9/11. And the question really facing the voter about Giuliani is, which was more important? Because he is much admired for his stance post 9/11, his leadership post 9/11. He has a very aggressive view of the need to defend the country against terrorism by staying on offense, which I think, if you look at the Republican Party voters' views as expressed in polls about the war, tell you that that's where the party is on that. So it'll come down to a contest, really, between those two matters.
All right, let's turn, with a couple of minutes we have left, to the Democrats and a new USA Today Gallup poll that's out this week. Let's take a look at that. It shows Senator Clinton has now jumped to a 15-point lead over Senator Obama since the first Democratic debate. That's up 10 points from 3 weeks previous. Mara, has some of the air, you think, gone out of the Obama boomlet?
I don't see that yet. First of all, polls at this stage have to be discounted. If you look at the average of polls, which is maybe a better way to look at them in the aggregate, there hasn't been much change. Senator Clinton is the front runner in the Democratic race. She's in the 30s. Senator Obama is number 2, and he's in the 20s. And I think, I don't think the majority of Democratic voters, primary voters, have started to really pay attention to this. They will in the fall. And at that point, I think if she goes into September, October, November, maintaining this kind of a lead over Obama, then I'd say yes, but not yet.
Brett?
Well, I think that the Obama ascendancy, which appeared to be an upward trajectory that could go to any level, appears to have bumped up against something. He doesn't seem to be able to get. He does not seem to be able to gain further ground on her. Now, a lot can change. We keep saying it's early, but her lead has become pretty persistent at this point, and something that I think needs to be taken note of. It's kind of hard at this point to look ahead and imagine her not getting the nomination.
I think it's possible to imagine it, but what's happened in the last 3 weeks? What's the one event that distinguished Clinton and Obama? She was tougher on terror in the debate. And so for a party that's allegedly so dovish, it turns out they seem to be rewarding her a little bit for sounding more like a commander-in-chief and less like a first responder-in-chief. And I think, again, this is why the Democrats on the Hill are endangering their presidential prospects by seeming as if all they want to do is not fight al-Qaeda. Senator Clinton actually knows that the next commander-in-chief, the next president's going to have to fight al-Qaeda.
I think it speaks, her performance in the debate spoke to the idea that she can be elected, that she won't be defeated. And secondly, I think Obama has just been struggling. The question is his July reports and money. Can he gain money then?
Got